Picture yourself standing at the edge of a storm-lashed cliff, the wind roaring in your ears, the world trembling beneath your feet, and yet you feel nothing but absolute certainty. Your heart doesn't pound, your breath doesn't falter. You know, with every fiber of your being, that no gale, no criticism, no setback can shake you. That is the power we're about to unlock together. In the next few minutes, you'll discover 5 transformative steps rooted in ancient Stoic wisdom that will forge your confidence into an unbreakable fortress. We're not talking about hollow pep talks or fleeting boosts of bravado. We're talking about real, lasting conviction that springs from ruthless self-awareness, mindful acceptance of life's chaos, habits so resilient they defy distraction, actions so purposeful they light your path, and a reflective process that turns every experience into fuel for growth. Stay with me, and by the end of this journey, you won't just believe in yourself, you'll embody a steadfast confidence that thrives in adversity. Let's begin. Step 1. Embrace radical self-knowledge. Stand before the still waters of your mind and look deep into the reflection that stares back. This is no casual glance. You are embarking on a profound excavation of your very being. In the immortal words of Marcus Aurelius, look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if thou wilt always look. Here lies the crucible in which unshakable confidence is forged. Radical self-knowledge, to hesitate, to flinch from this exploration, is to leave yourself vulnerable to every passing breeze of opinion and circumstance. But to plunge fully into the depths of your psyche is to claim sovereignty over your inner kingdom. Begin by laying bare your virtues and your failings with equal courage. Too many of us wander through life clutching a curated image and identity, crafted to impress others, to elicit approval, to hide shame. This facade may earn you fleeting applause, but it offers no sanctuary when adversity strikes. True confidence is rooted not in pretense, but in authenticity. Take up your pen or open a fresh page in your journal. Carve to columns, one headed strengths, the other weaknesses. Under strengths, write down every quality that has carried you through challenge, perhaps your compassion that has soothed a stranger's sorrow, your tenacity that has driven a long-shot idea to fruition, your clarity of purpose that has steered you through confusion. Do not shy away from celebrating even modest triumphs. Every step forward counts. Then, turn your unwavering gaze upon your weaknesses. These are not to be hidden or hushed. They are the raw materials of your transformation. Procrastination that delays your dreams. Fear that coils around your throat when you stand on the threshold of bold action. Self-criticism that whispers you are not enough. Scrutinize each with the same resolute curiosity you would reserve for a fascinating scientific discovery. Write them down without murmur of shame or justification. The Stoics taught that acknowledging our faults is not an admission of defeat, but the first step toward mastery. Only by illuminating the dark corners of your character can you begin to reshape them. As you compile this inventory of the self, resist to common pitfalls, denial and self-flagellation. Denial would have you gloss over your flaws, pretending they do not exist. Self-flagellation would have you dwell in regret, a captive to guilt. Neither serves your growth. Instead, practice the Stoic art of objective observation. View each trait as if it were an external phenomenon, a weather pattern to be charted, neither good nor evil in itself, but possessing consequences based on how you direct it. By seeing your mind with the clarity of a scientist, you remove emotional charge and gain actionable insight. Next, ground your identity in what the Stoics call the inner citadel, the realm of your rational mind, your moral convictions, and your will. The world will relentlessly bombard you with labels: employee, teacher, parent, influencer, success, failure. These labels are as shifting sands, unable to bear the weight of your self-worth. Instead, cement your foundation on the immutable bedrock of your chosen principles. What virtues will you hold above all else? Courage to face hardship without flinching, justice to treat others with fairness, temperance to curb indulgence, wisdom to see beyond surface appearances. Choose no more than 3 that resonate most deeply. This focused selection will sharpen your endeavors rather than scatter them. Once you have named your core virtues, create a daily anchor. Each morning, in the stillness before dawn, recite a brief affirmation that aligns your intentions with these principles. Speak them aloud with conviction. Today, I will act with unwavering courage. Today, I will speak and move with integrity. Today, I will temper my impulses with deliberate thought. Feel the resonance of each word in your chest, as if you are striking a tuning fork that harmonizes your mind, heart, and actions. This ritual, practiced consistently, weaves your identity into an unbreakable tapestry. But self-knowledge is not a static achievement like a muscle. It requires continuous exercise. Throughout your day, pause at 3 predetermined moments, perhaps before your first major task, at midday, and evening's close. In each pause, ask yourself 2 questions. Am I living according to my principles? And what have I learned about myself in the past few hours? These interruptions serve as checkpoints, ensuring you do not unconsciously drift into habits that betray your values. If you find yourself acting contrary to your virtues, lashing out in impatience, succumbing to avoidance, do not despair. Instead, gently acknowledge the deviation, extract the lesson, and steer yourself back to course. To deepen this practice, engage in a weekly Stoic audit. Set aside an hour in solitude, no phone, no distractions, and review your journal entries, your victories, and your missteps. Question each decision you made. Why did you choose that action? What fear or desire was at play? How did your response align or conflict with your core virtues? This audit reveals subtle patterns. Perhaps you tend to rationalize small acts of cowardice to avoid discomfort. Or maybe you consistently undervalue your perspective and deference to others. By surfacing these patterns, you empower yourself to intercept them before they snowball into self-doubt. In the crucible of self-examination, also practice profound self-compassion. The Stoics were not cold rationalists. They recognized that every human is a work in progress. When you confront a painful flaw, do so with the kindness you would extend to a dear friend wrestling with similar challenges. Speak to yourself in constructive, encouraging language. I see this pattern in me, and I know I can change it step by step. Such compassion is not softness, it is the secure base from which you launch the arduous climb toward your highest self. Finally, share your journey with a trusted confidant or mentor. Vulnerability is itself a powerful affirmation of confidence, for it declares that you are unafraid to be seen fully as you are. Choose someone who will challenge you honestly and celebrate your progress. Regular conversations with this ally will sharpen your reflections, hold you accountable, and remind you that you are never alone in the human endeavor of self-mastery. Through these deliberate, fearless practices, inventorying your strengths and weaknesses, anchoring your identity in chosen virtues, establishing daily check-ins, conducting weekly audits, and extending compassionate accountability, you cultivate a level of self-knowledge so profound that no external storm can unsettle you. This radical self-knowledge is not an endpoint, but the very bedrock from which all other steps in building unshakable confidence flow. Here, in the sanctuary of your inner citadel, you stand, unassailable, ready to face the world with clarity, courage, and conviction. Step 2. Practice mindful acceptance of the uncontrollable. Imagine standing at the prow of a great ship, the horizon stretching endlessly before you. You grip the rail, eyes fixed on the distant shore, as waves rise and fall around you. You cannot still the sea, you cannot bend the wind, or tame the turning of the seasons, but you can master the helm. In Stoic philosophy, this is the essential truth. The only real domain you command is the realm of your judgments, intentions, and actions. Everything else, other people's words, the twist of fate, the capriciousness of fortune, is outside your sovereignty. The practice of mindful acceptance of the uncontrollable is the art of directing your energy where it truly matters, toward your reasoned response. To begin, recognize with deep clarity what lies within your circle of control and what does not. Draw an imaginary circle on the mental canvas of your mind. Inside, place your beliefs, your choices, and your efforts. Outside, it places the weather, the market, the opinions of strangers, the passage of time, and the vast machinery of the universe. For too long, many of us have hurtled about as if the entire world were ours to manage, agonizing over a delayed meeting, ruminating on social media slights, fearing each flicker of uncertainty. But when you practice rigidly defining what you truly command, you liberate your spirit. Each time temptation arises to wrest control of the uncontrollable, each time you catch yourself spiraling over a canceled plan or a friend's criticism, quietly ask, "Is this mine to govern?" If the answer is no, release it like a bird from your hand. The first stage of mindful acceptance is conscious observation. Throughout your day, cultivate the habit of checking in with your breath. A simple trigger, your phone buzzing, a red traffic light. The moment before you enter a meeting becomes your cue to pause. Close your eyes briefly. Inhale fully and count to 4. Exhale to the same count. As you breathe out, envision letting go of every worry about outcomes you cannot shape. In this intentional pause, you dismantle the power of external disturbances. The storm remains outside, but within you, there is calm. As this pause becomes second nature, deepen your practice through the technique of negative visualization. At first, this may feel counterintuitive. Why dwell on loss or hardship? Yet the Stoics taught that by imagining the worst before it arrives, we immunize ourselves against its shock. Each evening, in the quiet of your study or before bed, spend 5 minutes visualizing a potential setback, a friendship strained, a project derailed, a health scare. Feel the initial sting of disappointment, then observe it from a distance, as if you were a spectator at a play. Notice the transient quality of each emotion. Finally, remind yourself, if such an event were to occur, could you summon the same virtues you have cultivated? Resilience, composure, courage to face it. This rehearsal strengthens your psyche. When misfortune strikes in reality, it will no longer feel like an abyss, but a manageable challenge. Parallel to negative visualization is the practice of gratitude for the present moment. When your mind tumbles toward worry, what if my proposal fails? What if I offend someone? Counterbalance it by listing 3 things you appreciate right now. Perhaps it is the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the loyalty of a pet curled at your feet, the purity of a single, deep breath. Gratitude shifts your focus from fear of the future to appreciation of the here and now. It anchors you firmly in the present, where real power resides. The future remains unknown and thus uncontrollable, but the present moment is a sovereign territory you can steward with intention and grace. As you practice acceptance, adopt an attitude not of resignation, but of active engagement. The Stoics spoke of amor fati, the love of fate. This is more than tolerating what happens. It is embracing every twist of circumstance as an opportunity for growth. When traffic snarls, slow your commute, or a colleague's harsh words sting, greet these irritations as welcome teachers. Ask, what can this moment reveal to me about my patience, my empathy, my capacity to choose serenity over agitation? In reframing obstacles as instructors, you reclaim agency. A snarling engine or a sharp rebuke becomes the forge in which your equanimity is tempered. Language, too, is a powerful ally in mindful acceptance. Words shape perception. When you label an event disaster, your mind gulps fear. When you call it a challenge, you provoke curiosity. Practice careful speech, both outward and inward. Replace "this is ruining my day" with "this is testing my composure." Replace "I can't stand this uncertainty" with "I am learning to welcome the unknown." Over time, this verbal reframing rewires neural pathways, making stress less automatic and calm more habitual. Another critical dimension of mindful acceptance is community. While inner tranquility originates within, its roots deepen when nurtured among supportive companions. Share your journey with fellow travelers, friends, mentors, or Stoic study groups. When you encounter a situation that feels overwhelming, in your mind, describe it aloud. Notice how articulating your thoughts externalizes them, offering a fresh perspective. Your companions may offer insights you had not considered or simply bear witness, which is itself powerful. In knowing you are not alone in surrendering the uncontrollable, you fortify your resolve. Yet perhaps the most profound test of acceptance arises in the face of profound loss or heartbreak. In those moments when the heart feels broken, the Stoic reminder rings loudest: only your judgment is within your command. You cannot resurrect what is gone, but you can choose how to remember it, how to grow from its absence. Permit yourself to grieve fully, as grief is a natural process. Then when the tide of sorrow begins to recede, Consciously choose to honor what was lost by living fully in the present. Let gratitude for having experienced love, for having known joy, light the path forward. Finally, integrate mindful acceptance into your broader Stoic practice by coupling it with purposeful action. Acceptance does not mean passivity. You accept what you cannot change, but you also exert every ounce of effort on what you can, your work, your relationships, your personal development. In one hand, you hold a sword of effort. In the other, a shield of serenity. The shield does not blunt your ambition. It protects your spirit from the corrosive effects of anxiety. When outcomes diverge from your plan, mindful acceptance of the uncontrollable is not a technique you master and discard. It is a lifelong companion. Each time you pause, breathe, visualize loss, reframe language, grieve, or draw strength from community, you reinforce the discipline of serenity. In doing so, you free enormous reserves of mental and emotional energy that would otherwise be wasted on futile struggle so that you can channel it into purposeful, courageous action. Picture again that ship on the open sea. The waves will surge and the wind will howl, storms will come, yet you stand at the helm unshaken. For you have learned to yield to the elements you cannot govern and to assert your will. Where it truly counts, in this mastery lies unshakable confidence and inner calm that no external tempest can break. By practicing mindful acceptance of the uncontrollable, you transform yourself from a vessel tossed about by circumstance into a sovereign navigator of your destiny. Step 3. Build resilient habits through consistent action. Imagine a sculptor standing before a block of marble. With each deliberate tap of the chisel, a vision emerges, though at first the marble seems unyielding. So it is with confidence. You chip away at doubt with the consistent hammering of daily practice. In Stoic thought, virtues are like muscles that grow only through use. Confidence is not the fleeting surge before a big event. It is the accumulation of countless small victories achieved day after day. This third step, building resilient habits through consistent action, is the forge in which unshakable confidence is hammered into being. First, identify the core virtues you stand for: courage, temperance, justice, and wisdom. Each virtue can translate into practical habits that, over time, become second nature, rather than attempting sweeping reforms which often collapse under the weight of their ambition. Choose a handful of micro-habits that align precisely with your values. If courage is your guiding star, resolve to speak up at least once each day in a situation that would normally give you pause. It might be offering feedback in a meeting, sharing an idea in a group discussion, or simply voicing your opinion when you typically remain silent. Each small yes to discomfort strengthens the neural pathways of bravery, making the next bold step a bit easier. If temperance, self-control, is a virtue you prize, select a modest restraint. Perhaps you limit your screen time before bed, reduce one sugary indulgence, or allocate specific windows for email checking so that you don't drift into distraction. When you resist that impulse to scroll mindlessly or to reach for a second cookie, you affirm your sovereignty over fleeting desires. These tiny acts of restraint, repeated day after day, crystallize into an inner calm that bolsters your confidence not in external pleasures, but in your mastery of self. For wisdom, carve out a daily ritual of reflection or learning. It could be 5 minutes of reading a passage from a Stoic text, Seneca, Epictetus, or Marcus Aurelius, followed by a 2-minute pause to distill its lesson into a single sentence. Write that sentence on a sticky note and place it where you'll see it throughout the day. This simple practice cements intellectual growth, ensuring that you are not merely consuming wisdom, but internalizing it. Once you've selected your micro-habits, embed them into your daily routine through strategic triggers. The Stoics remind us that virtue is not a matter of dramatic heroics, but of steady persistence. A trigger could be your morning coffee. After the first sip, you recite your courage challenge for the day, or perhaps the sound of your computer's startup prompts your 5-minute wisdom reading. By coupling new habits to existing routines, you eliminate friction and ensure consistency. Yet intention alone is not enough. You must track your progress to maintain momentum. Seneca counseled that a journey is like marriage. The certain way to be wrong is to think you control it. Without honest measurement, you cannot know whether your journey is veering off course. Maintain a simple habit journal, digital or handwritten, and record each day's successes and setbacks. Did you speak up at lunch? Yes or no? Did you avoid that extra hour of mindless browsing? Note it. Over time, you'll see patterns emerge, streaks of success that fuel your motivation, as well as occasional lapses that signal where you need to double down. This journal is more than an accountability tool. It is a mirror reflecting your evolving character. When you notice that you are consistently missing your temperance goal on weekends, investigate why. Perhaps your planning around leisure time needs adjustment. If your courage challenge feels too daunting on some days, scale it back to a smaller step and then rebuild gradually. The key is adaptability. Resilient habits are not rigid commandments, but living practices that can bend without breaking. Remember that progress is not strictly linear. Like a sine wave, your growth will have peaks and valleys. On a peak day, your courageous roar echoes loudly. Perhaps you volunteer to lead a project or defend a colleague in a moment of injustice. On a valley day, the smallest discomfort feels insurmountable. Do not let these fluctuations erode your confidence. Rather, see them as data points on your path. Each valley teaches you about your thresholds and your triggers, equipping you to navigate future challenges with greater ease. To reinforce these habits, celebrate your small wins with deliberate acknowledgement. At the end of each day, pause and honor yourself. Today, I showed up for courage when I shared my idea. I practiced temperance by turning off notifications. These moments of self-congratulation need not be grand. A simple internal nod or jotting a star in your journal suffices. Such positive reinforcement activates the brain's reward centers, making you more likely to repeat the habit. Moreover, integrate your micro-habits into a broader tapestry of purpose. When you ground each action in your overarching mission, whether it is to serve your community, to grow into your highest self, or to lead with integrity, you transform mechanical repetition into meaningful ritual. Washing the dishes becomes an exercise in mindfulness and humility. Writing an email becomes an opportunity to practice clear communication and empathy. By seeing every task as a vessel for your virtues, you magnify the impact of each habit far beyond its immediate scope. Another powerful technique is the habit pairing method. Pair a habit that feels like a chore with one you genuinely enjoy. For instance, listen to an inspiring podcast on Stoic philosophy while you go for your daily walk. The anticipation of your favorite audio content becomes the bait that lures you into physical movement, which in turn fortifies your courage of body and mind. The synergy between pleasure and discipline accelerates habit formation, creating a virtuous cycle where enjoyment and growth reinforce each other. Community also plays an essential role in sustaining resilient habits. Share your challenges and triumphs with a Stoic study group, a close friend, or a mentor. Accountability partners provide encouragement and gentle course corrections when you stray. They remind you that habit building is not a solitary battle, but a shared odyssey. When you know that others are witnessing your practice, rooting for you, celebrating you, you harness the social component of motivation to fortify your resolve. As weeks become months, you will perceive a subtle but profound shift. The gap between intention and action narrows. You find yourself acting in alignment with your principles almost instinctively. This alignment is the heartbeat of true confidence, a seamless flow where your choices and your identity are the same. The chisel no longer strikes a blunt marble block. It glides through refined stone, sculpting the masterpiece of your character. Finally, remember that habit building is both an art and a science. Track metrics, analyze patterns, and refine your approach, but remain flexible. If a habit no longer serves your evolving purpose, redesign it. If a new virtue emerges as central to your growth, craft micro-habits around it. The dynamic interplay of consistent action and reflective adjustment ensures that your confidence remains resilient to changing circumstances. In the grand tapestry of Stoic practice, consistent action is the thread that binds knowledge to reality. Through daily micro-habits aligned with your core virtues, through meticulous tracking and adaptable refinement, through the integration of joy and community, you forge a discipline so ingrained that no external circumstance can uproot it. Each small step, each deliberate choice compounds into the immovable rock of unshakable confidence. Stand firm upon it, and you will find that even the tallest waves of doubt break harmlessly at your feet. Step 4. Cultivate purposeful action with Stoic resolve. Picture yourself standing beneath a vast archway, the path ahead shrouded in both shadow and sunlight. Every step you take is a statement of intention, a declaration of who you are and what you stand for. In Stoic philosophy, confidence flourishes not simply through knowing your inner strengths or accepting the unyielding forces of fate, but through living each moment with deliberate purpose and unwavering resolve. This fourth step, cultivating purposeful action with Stoic resolve, is about infusing every breath, every gesture, every choice with meaning, so that your life becomes not a series of random events, but a coherent, soaring narrative of virtue in motion. Begin by articulating your highest purpose in life, a mission that anchors you through calm and storm alike. This purpose is not a vague wish or a distant dream. It is a clear, concise statement that captures the essence of the contribution you intend to make. Perhaps your mission is to serve your community with kindness and insight, to innovate responsibly in your industry, or to model emotional mastery for those you love. Write it down in a single, potent sentence. I will live to uplift others through compassionate leadership, or I will strive to create excellence with integrity, or I will embody serenity in all relationships. This mission statement is your guiding star, with purpose defined. Approach each day as an opportunity to express that mission through concrete actions. The Stoics remind us that greatness resides in ordinary duties performed with extraordinary intent. Washing dishes is not merely a chore, it is a moment to practice humility and gratitude. Writing an email is not a mundane task, it is a chance to communicate with clarity and respect. Even the simplest interactions, greeting a co-worker, listening to a friend's concern, offering a smile to a passerby, become vessels for your purpose when approached mindfully. Purposeful action demands a heart of resolve. Resolve is the iron backbone of the Stoic spirit, the pledge you make to yourself to pursue your mission regardless of external approval or adversity. Cultivate this resolve through ritual. At the start of every week, perform a brief consecration ceremony. Review your mission statement. Recall past challenges you overcame with virtue, and recommit to your path with the same fervor as when you first discovered your purpose. Speak this recommitment aloud, feeling each word vibrate through your chest. I choose to live courageously. I choose to act justly. I choose to remain steadfast no matter what arises. Yet resolve alone can feel abstract without a practical structure. Break your mission into projects and tasks that align with your virtues. If justice is paramount, one project might be volunteering regularly with an organization that champions fairness. If wisdom guides you, commit to mentoring a younger colleague or leading a study group on philosophy. Assign each project a clear timeline and measurable milestones. This scaffolding channels your resolve into real-world endeavors, transforming lofty ideals into tangible contributions. Obstacles will inevitably emerge. A critical deadline looms and doubts creep in. Can I deliver quality under pressure? A personal setback shakes your confidence. Am I strong enough to continue? In these moments, return to your mission. Ask yourself, what would purposeful, virtuous action look like right now? The answer may be to methodically outline next steps on your project plan, to seek counsel from a trusted peer, or to take a brief pause to recalibrate. By filtering challenges through the lens of your mission, you convert obstacles into opportunities for growth. Each hurdle you clear with virtue deepens your reservoir of confidence. Mindset 2. Shapes purposeful action. When your inner dialogue rails against difficulty, this is too hard, I don't have what it takes, intervene with Stoic self-talk. Reframe adversity as fuel. This difficulty reveals where I can grow, or this test sharpens my character. Use the power of task-oriented language. Replace I am overwhelmed with I will tackle this one step at a time, and I fear I will fail with I will learn from whatever happens. Such linguistic shifts align your mind with action, erasing paralysis and lighting a spark of initiative. Purposeful action thrives on momentum. To keep your resolve fervent, cultivate the habit of micro-commitments, small, immediate actions that reaffirm your mission multiple times daily. If your mission involves nurturing wisdom, commit to sharing one thoughtful insight with someone each morning. If compassion is central, choose a small, random kindness, sending an appreciative note to a colleague, pausing to hold the door for a stranger. These micro-commitments are more than gestures. They are ritualized affirmations that reinforce your identity moment by moment. But purpose is best lived in community. Share your mission and progress with a circle of like-minded individuals. A Stoic fellowship, a mastermind group, or simply a trusted friend. Monthly gatherings, virtual or in-person, create a forum for you to report successes, admit struggles, and receive counsel. The communal aspect of purposeful action not only holds you accountable, but also multiplies your impact. When you see others inspired by your resolve, your sense of purpose ignites further. Reflection remains a cornerstone. At week's end, allocate time for purposeful journaling. Document where you lived up to your mission and where you fell short. Celebrate the moments when you acted with clarity and courage, and investigate the instances when fear or distraction led you astray. Ask penetrating questions. What was my intention in that interaction? How did my response serve my mission? This reflective pause is not self-criticism, but strategic calibration, ensuring that your actions remain tightly linked to your overarching purpose. Purposeful action also demands emotional balance. Stoicism does not call for a hollow detachment, but for a measured engagement with life's highs and lows. When success arrives, a recognition at work, an acknowledgement from a peer, accept it with gratitude, but without vanity. Let praise affirm your mission, not inflate your ego. Conversely, when criticism or failure comes, receive it with equanimity, analyze its merits, discard what is unfounded, and integrate what serves your growth. This balanced stance enables you to maintain steady forward motion, neither gorged by triumph nor undone by defeat. As months turn into years, your purposeful actions accumulate into a life of significance. The missions you undertook become legacies, the community you served flourishes, the wisdom you shared spreads, and the courage you modeled inspires others. Your daily rituals, micro-commitments, weekly renewals, reflective audits transform into the sinews of a character unbreakable by circumstance. In the grand tapestry of your existence, each purposeful action is a vibrant thread woven with Stoic resolve. When you face the inevitable crossroads, an uncertain career move, a daunting personal decision, a crisis of faith, remember that the compass guiding you is your mission, and the engine driving you is your cultivated resolve. Stand firm, breathe deep, and step forward with conviction, for you are no longer at the mercy of happenstance, but the sovereign author of your destiny. By intentionally aligning every thought, word, and deed with your highest purpose, and by reinforcing that alignment with the unyielding resolve of a Stoic, you create a life that resonates with meaning and radiates confidence. This is the power of purposeful action, a seamless fusion of why you exist and how you live. Embrace it fully, and you become an unstoppable force, steadfast, inspired, and unshakably confident in the pursuit of your noble mission. Step 5. Reflect, adjust, and embrace continuous growth. Imagine standing atop a high cliff at dawn, the first light spilling across a world newly awakened. Below, valleys and streams stretch outward, their contours revealed only as the sun climbs higher. Similarly, your journey toward unshakable confidence unfolds in stages, some clear in the moment, others hidden until you take the time to look back and shed light on what lies beneath. The 5th step, reflecting on your experiences, adjusting your course, and embracing continuous growth, is the vital practice that transforms isolated victories into a lifetime of mastery. Begin each evening with an intentional retreat into silence. Find a quiet space, free from screens and interruptions, and settle into your favorite chair or cushion. Close your eyes briefly and take 3 deep, even breaths. As you exhale, release the residue of the day, its successes, its stumbles, and every fleeting emotion that accompanied each moment. When your mind feels still, open your journal and record the highlights, moments when you lived according to your Stoic principles, when you faced difficulty with composure, when you acted with courage or tempered your impulses. Write not only what happened, but how it felt. Capture the surge of triumph when you spoke up, the calm satisfaction when you honored your commitments, the sting of frustration when you let fear dictate your choice. Next, turn your attention to the moments that did not align with your ideals. These are not failures to berate yourself over, but invitations to learn. Examine each misstep with the same courage that you bring to challenges. Ask yourself, what thought led me away from my purpose? Which emotion clouded my judgment? Was impatience, self-doubt, or distraction the culprit? Probe deeply and honestly, as if you were a detective piecing together clues. Resist the urge to rationalize or dismiss. Acknowledgement is the precursor to transformation. Once you have surfaced these insights, it is time to adjust. Growth without adjustment is like planting seeds on barren soil. Effort yields little fruit. Transform your discoveries into actionable strategies. For each pattern you uncover, perhaps a habitual retreat into distraction when stress rises, or a tendency to silence your voice in group settings, craft a small countermeasure. If you notice you grow anxious before every presentation, introduce a 2-minute breathing ritual 5 minutes before speaking. If you tend to shrink when opinions clash, commit to voicing at least one clarifying question in every discussion. Record these targeted adjustments in your journal alongside your reflections. This process turns self-awareness into tangible progress. As days and weeks progress, revisit these entries regularly, at least once a week during a longer session of contemplation. Set aside 30 minutes of uninterrupted time. Light a candle or brew a cup of tea to mark the solemnity of the ritual. Read through your past reflections and adjustments. Notice which strategies have taken root and which still require nurturing. Celebrate the growth. I have maintained my daily courage practice for 10 consecutive days. Or I handled that difficult conversation with calm resolve. At the same time, identify any persistent struggles. I still feel resistance to sharing my ideas in large forums, or I returned to old habits when I was tired. This weekly audit sharpens your perception, prevents drift, and ensures that every effort contributes to your expanding confidence. Embracing continuous growth also means expanding your perspective beyond yourself. Seek feedback from trusted mentors, friends, or colleagues who share your commitment to excellence. Choose those who will speak candidly, balancing praise with constructive criticism. Share with them the areas you are working to refine and invite their honest observations. Their insights can illuminate blind spots you may never detect on your own. Treat this feedback as precious fuel for your evolution. Digest what serves your purpose. Set aside what does not, and integrate new strategies into your reflection and adjustment cycle. Growth is not always a comfortable process. It demands humility to admit when you have fallen short, patience to persevere through incremental progress, and resilience to weather moments of doubt or regression. When self-criticism arises, greet it with compassion. Remind yourself that even the Stoic masters faced setbacks, and that true mastery emerges through the relentless willingness to learn. A kind yet firm inner voice, I am committed to growing, and this too is part of the path, reaffirms your resolve and sustains your spirit. To further reinforce continuous growth, cultivate a mindset of a lifelong student. Subscribe to the idea that wisdom is infinite and that each day offers fresh lessons. Purposefully expose yourself to new challenges. Enroll in a course that pushes your boundaries. Take on a project that demands skills you have yet to master, or engage in dialogues with people whose viewpoints differ from your own. Each novel experience adds texture to your understanding of yourself and the world, expanding the canvas upon which your confidence can blossom. Moreover, integrate a periodic review of your overarching mission. Just as a sailor checks the stars to confirm their course, you must occasionally re-examine your guiding purpose. Every 6 months, set aside an hour to revisit your mission statement. Reflect on whether it still resonates or if it requires refinement. To reflect your evolving values and aspiration. As you grow, your sense of purpose may deepen or shift. Honoring this evolution keeps your actions aligned with your highest self. Finally, recognize that true confidence is a living phenomenon, ever transforming in the face of new contexts and challenges. Each reflective pause, each strategic adjustment, and each embrace of fresh growth leads you toward an ever-expanding horizon of possibility. Your inner citadel, once carved from the rock of radical self-knowledge, fortified by mindful acceptance, buttressed by resilient habits, and energized by purposeful action, becomes a dynamic fortress. Its walls are not static barriers but living ramparts that adapt as you scale new heights. In the grand journey of Stoic practice, reflection and adjustment are the compass and rudder. They ensure that the wind of experience carries you forward rather than blowing you off course. By dedicating yourself to continuous growth through nightly reflections, weekly audits, candid feedback, purposeful challenges, and periodic mission reviews, you transform every moment of your life into an opportunity for refinement. Step by step, you solidify your foundation, broaden your perspective, and deepen your mastery. In the light of this ongoing evolution, unshakable confidence is not a distant summit, but the very ground on which you stand, ever ascending, ever becoming more fully yourself. As we draw this journey to a close, remember that unshakable confidence isn't built in a single moment. It's the sum of every truth you face, every storm you weather, every habit you forge, and every lesson you embrace. You've stood witness to 5 powerful steps rooted in Stoic wisdom, each one a stepping stone toward a life defined not by fear, but by your resolute purpose. Thank you for dedicating these moments to your growth. I'm deeply grateful you chose to walk this path with me. If these teachings resonate, do me a favor, hit the like button, share this video with someone who needs a boost of courage, and subscribe to join our Stoic warrior community, where every day is a chance to live stronger, wiser, and more unbreakably confident. Until next time, stay steadfast, stay courageous, and remember, your inner fortress is waiting to be claimed.